labor in the state. The strike, which was called off after 4 days, was for government to attend to issues bordering on the welfare of civil and public servants in the state. Elizabeth Eso, who went round Abeokuta, the state capital, confirmed that the state head of service, Dr. Nafi Aigo, assured the workforce of government's efforts at fulfilling the part of the agreement reached. Here is her report.
12 midnight Monday 27th June, organized labor in Ogun State declared an indefinite strike after the expiration of the 7-day ultimatum given to the state government to attend to issues affecting the welfare of its workforce. The action, which was observed by all state workers, was suspended on Friday 1st of July following agreement of action signed by both the organized labor and the state government. Going around Abeokuta metropolis, state schools and hospitals were seen opened as students were seen resuming for studies. Visiting the state secretariat, workers were seen on their duty posts, ready to commence work.
The organized labor called industrial action, which started Tuesday 28th June, and it was called off by Friday 1st of July. So for 4 days, there was industrial action in Ogun State. We want to thank the organized labor for calling off the strike action. And now all the civil servants are back at their duty posts.
The state head of service, Dr. Nafi Olatunde Aigoro, assures the state workforce of government's commitment at improving their welfare.
I want to pledge with the workforce to rededicate themselves and ensure that they forget the industrial action and put in their best. I want to assure them that the state government will keep to the promise. The spirit and letter of the memorandum of action signed between the organized labor and the government.
OGTV News visit across the state capital, Abeokuta, confirmed the resumption of workers in their various duty posts. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
Still on strike matters, the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has entered its 140 days with issues that led to the industrial disharmony declared on February 14 still far from being resolved. The University Union had, among other demands, asked the federal government to remove its members from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS, and make use of University Transparency Accountability Solution, UTAS. However, the federal government, through the National Information Technology Development Agency, conducted integrity tests on the platform in conjunction with neutral experts. Urged by the outcome of the integrity test, which NITDA said UTAS could not scale through, ASU's insistence could be the reason why the industrial dispute has not been resolved. ASU is also demanding that the federal government implement the 2020 Memorandum of Action if there must be a way out of the strike. Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, and his education counterpart, Malam Adamu, wanted ASU to soften its demand due to economic downturn. The federal government, in the course of the strike, set up a committee headed by Professor Nimi Briggs to conclude negotiations with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Other demands include payment of earned academic allowance, revitalization fund, and payment of withheld salaries, which ASU claimed are not negotiable. Alleged poor handling of internal politics of the two major political parties by their leaders is said to have necessitated the number of defections in the National Assembly. And in the coming days, more lawmakers are set to dump their parties on the floors of the two chambers. In this special report, Ronke Adieme looks into the change in the democratic process that has led to this and the legal standing of defectors.
All through history, political parties have remained the strongest pillars of democracy as they provide a platform for governing philosophies, ideologies, or principles. Therefore, The mass defection of lawmakers from the political party alluded to the inadequacy of the two frontline political parties in the country, the All Progressive Congress, APC, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to effectively address the grievances of the legislators arising from the just concluded primaries. It is, however, important to note that after the direct mode of primary and consensus option were rejected, the option of ad hoc delegates was considered. That is, those democratically elected for that purpose only, and this was how the legislature excluded itself from the primary election. This led to about 70% of the National Assembly members losing their seats at the end of the polls, and the aggrieved lawmakers jumping ship of political party in hope of participating in the upcoming elections. Are they justified?
I don't want to use short change because it's party politics, but I think the leading political parties, particularly the PDP, the APC, should find a means of considering these individuals to ensure that some of them who have represented well so far, the party well and community well, should go back to the house.
And should the delegate system be blamed?
The democratic issue, people voted for them, and to question that, you need to go back to the people. To do that, it's not a party, it's not what somebody can do.
It was also noted that defectors are, according to the law, supposed to lose their seats once they dump the party on which platform they were elected in the first place.
Because you are leaving my party or we are leaving our party, you are going to forfeit. No. The authority is sacrosanct on that yes, they got into that seat, through the mandate. They got the mandate from the people. And it's the people that can do that.
We have a more balanced polity, whereby we don't have a particular party that just holds sway and controls everybody. So you have a relatively objective polity. You have people who are not too much to the right and who are not too much to the left.
As a drama, over the gale of defections continue to unfold in the polity, specifically about 174 members of the House of Representatives out of the 360 and 54 senators out of the 109 senators lost their return tickets. Adirunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
Feelers from the Ogun State headquarters of the National Electoral Commission, INEC, says more prospective voters are registered in the fourth quarter with a figure greater than all the previous quarters put together. The resident electoral commissioner, Nii Ijalaye, says every polling booth will soon enjoy the presence of the registration machines and its crew before the general elections. Fora Adeso reports that even with the indefinite extension of voter registration exercise, some Nigerians have their reasons for not partaking in the civic duty.
I work in Benin City, so I did my voter's card in Benin City. So when I relocated here, so I have to do the one of Ogun State.
The importance of registration of voters is key in an electoral process.
10 or 11, it's closer. I have to have the patience to do it.
Electioneering period is here, but many Nigerians may be disenfranchised from partaking in the forthcoming general election due to the nature of their jobs.
PVC is what they use in voting, but I don't have. I work Monday to Saturday.
I'll be 27 days. I said I've not been able to register due to my nature of work. I'm always busy.
22. What do you say?
What is PVC?
Permanent voter's card.
Azimhi Egatise, a trader, argues that INEC should do more to encourage more participation in the registration exercise.
Like me, I live in Laderi, and we are under Obafemi Owode. I'm still looking for where they do registration so we can go. So I think they should do a bit of publicity on areas where people can go to register. A lot of people are willing to go and register, but knowing the location, the exact place. Because on that day, there will be no movement. If I say, let me register where my business is, I can't come there to vote on that day.
The resident electoral commissioner in Ogun State, Mr. Nii Ijalaye, says Nigerians hold their nation a patriotic duty of sparing their precious time for the all-important national assignment ahead.
What we've been doing is that the polling units are linked up to the local government offices. And what we do at those centers is in the local government offices, to collaborate with the political parties within those domains, and we do tell them that we will be moving our machine to this or that venue.
According to him, apart from the state and 20 local government headquarters, INEC has provided registration equipment in 236 wards, adding that efforts are ongoing to get to all polling booths in the state.
The process cannot and will not be hijacked by any politician.
Every Nigerian from 18 years and above who have not registered previously or who have relocated after the last election are eligible for the exercise, which has no time limit due to a recent court ruling. Adefowura Adesanwo, OGTV News.
Still on election matters, INEC is to conduct mock accreditation of voters in the 3 senatorial districts of Osun State for the July 16 governorship poll to ensure everything works perfectly. INEC's chairman, Mahmood Yakubu, in a briefing also assured the electorate in Osun State that all is now set for the exercise. He appealed for decency during the process.
All major activities that are supposed to be carried out at this stage have been successfully undertaken. We will visit some of our local government offices in the state, hold meetings with our staff, brief the Council of Traditional Rulers to solicit the support of their Royal Majesties for peaceful elections, and meet with the security agencies and transporters. We will also observe the mock accreditation of voters in some polling units across the 3 senatorial districts in the state to further test the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system. A few days to the election, we will return to Osun State to meet with stakeholders and for the signing of the peace accord by political parties and candidates under the auspices of the National Peace Committee. Arising from the experience of the recent Ekiti State governorship election, the Commission is keeping a close watch on the security situation in Osun State. Although it is generally calm at the moment, we are nevertheless concerned about reports of clashes in some places.
Meanwhile, the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Ibueze North local government area of Enugu State has been set ablaze by hoodlums. A statement by INEC's National Commissioner Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, says the attack on the office happened on Sunday, July 3, 2022. According to the statement, arsonists overpowered security guards in charge of the Commission's office, forced their way into the premises and burnt down the building, while noting that no casualties were reported in the attack. The Commission stated that 748 ballot boxes and 240 voting cubicles, as well as office furniture and equipment, were destroyed by the arsonists. Still to come on the news, President Buhari says federal government's commitment to infrastructure development is bearing results. Details of this and more about the commitment of the federal government to infrastructure development across the country is already bearing results. He spoke in Gejau, Yobe State during the official inauguration and handover of the completed Section 1 Phase 2 and Section 2 Phase 1 of the Nguru Geshau Bamayari Road. The president, who was represented at the event by the Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, reiterated the commitment of his administration to improving road transport infrastructure and to improve the ease of doing business and creating jobs and prosperity to lift people out of poverty. He explained that the road had been built to highest quality of design and workmanship, adding that it will be used If well used and not abused, it should last for the designed service life. Competence, capacity to deliver, and fear of God are some of the qualities that must be looked out for in choosing leaders before asking the question about the faith an individual belongs in voting for them. These were made known by religious leaders when speaking on the use of religion as a weapon in winning an election as political activities gather momentum in the nation. Matthew Shomi takes a look at religion as electoral weapon in this special report.
As Nigerians prepare for another round of elections come 2023, opinions continue to differ on what should be the yardsticks and non-religion in making the choice of who to take positions of leadership and steer the ship of the nation for another 4 years. Political parties and candidates are doing everything within their power to position themselves for victory at polls while pushing out different narratives to win the heart of electorates. Due to the emotive nature of religion and how people take strong position when issues of their faith come to the front burner, religion is now playing a prominent role in politics.
I want to urge Nigerians to look for 5 things, because those 5 things are the quality of a good leader. Number 1, competence. Competence. Number 2, courage. And the 5th one is connectivity, connection.
The person that will fit that post, that will help the nation, that the nation will be going to move forward. Just to pray, and we pray for the best person to be there.
Take action. We want God to intervene. Things must change. Things cannot continue this way, and there must definitely be the change that was promised. What the political people, what they parade. God Himself must hear our prayers. God Himself must rescue us like He did the land of Egypt.
We first of all urge all Muslim Ummah who are qualified to obtain their PVC to do so. Then they can take a decision as to who will lead the nation, to greatness.
While not being oblivious of the importance of spirituality in directing the affairs of man, the religious leaders believed competence and unity of the nation must take center stage given the current challenges facing the nation.
And the leadership too should show a good example to the led, so that at the end of the day, it will still be to the glory of God and to the glory of humanity.
God must come to our rescue, and He will come and rescue us. He has rescued before, He will do it again. So I want people to put their mind and be part of it, be part of the voting. Go out and pay your price.
By praying them, by giving lecture about who is a leader, who is going to be a good leader. Any leadership should be fear the Almighty Allah. Any leader that have no fear of God cannot succeed.
If they gave you 5,000 to vote, what you are saying is that if they take you to the market and they want to sell you for 4 years, all what you want is 5,000. And anybody who collected anything during the election, before he votes, that person has no right to condemn or to criticize such kind of government.
They stress the importance of prayers and God's guidance to see the nation through the difficult period. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
The federal government says Nigeria is a country that is fully guided by the Constitution, which guarantees its citizens' rights to freedom of worship, just as it has no policy that denies its citizens such right. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this in London while reacting to a letter written by some Republican senators asking the Secretary of State of the United States of America, Antony Blinken, to immediately redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act.
Does not have a policy that denies people the freedom to practice their religion. Neither does it have a tradition or an official policy of violation of freedom of religion. And it is not true that Nigeria actually persecutes anybody solely on account of his or her faith. We've said this several times, and we're saying it again with all the emphasis at our disposal, because even the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees the right of anybody to practice his or her own faith without molestation by anybody. And the federal government has always striven to ensure and to guard jealously this constitutional provision. And when there have been violations of it, the government has been at the forefront of prosecuting, of investigating and prosecuting and protecting everybody who has chosen a particular religion or faith to practice.
The federal government has announced that it is making efforts to facilitate the placement of Nigerian students who fled war-torn Ukraine into tertiary institutions in the country to enable them continue their education. This is contained in a statement published on the website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The statement, signed by the spokesperson for the ministry, Francisca Omalui, directed interested students to visit ministry's website and complete the Nigerian Student in Ukraine NSU registration form with the required information on or before 15th July 2022. The National Examinations Council has said it has not fixed any paper in the ongoing Senior School Certificate Examination SSC for school-based candidates for Saturday, July 9, 2022, which has been declared Salah Day. The council said this is to enable Muslim faithful have enough time to celebrate the festival. Head Information and Public Relations Division at NECO, Aziz Sani, made the clarification in a statement on Monday. Efforts at enhancing the efficiency of support staff in the judiciary are targeted towards building public confidence in the justice system. This is to be achieved through improvement in the day-to-day running of the registry at various courts. Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, says judicial officers work in line with code of conducts for court employees.
In your supervision and inspection of the area, Sharia, and customary courts, as doing so will go a long way in building public confidence in our courts, fight corruption, laziness, and other inadequacies in the judiciary.
We are serving with the responsibility of overseeing the activities of lower courts and thereby ensure that area judges are properly guided among other responsibilities. This you must take seriously to avoid miscarriage of justice in any form.
Investigations, petitions, handling, and delineating of court jurisdictions are some of the insights to be gained at the training workshop for directors and inspectors of lower courts. Empowering women economically is a key to the self-realization of women, knowing that their rights to achieve gender equality is in place in the country. This was emphasized by wife of the Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, during the installation ceremony of Rotarian Omotunde Lawson as the 42nd and first female district governor of Rotary International District 9110 Lagos. Adebola Oshomoji reports.
Commendations have trailed the emergence of Rotarian Omotunde Lawson as the 42nd and first female district governor of Rotary International District 9110. The investiture and installation ceremony was attended by the wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, who was awarded for a commendable performance and service delivery in different sectors. Addressing the participants at the event, Mrs. Abiodun implored gathering to support the new governor in executing the projects she has in mind by assisting her tenure.
I do not doubt that these plans will open doors of opportunities to usher in true progress people, particularly women and girls, and they are worth supporting.
She submitted that placing women and girls at the center of economies will drive the economy better to more sustainable solutions.
That is why most of the work we have done in Ogun State, especially through the Ajoshe Foundation, is centered around economic empowerment initiatives, because we realize that empowering women economically is key to helping them realize their rights and achieving gender equality in general.
As the past governor of the district, Oshile Okionwegba, Oba Dr. Adedapo Adewale Teju-Osho expressed immense joy for the opportunity to serve humanity.
But I'm an ancient past district governor. He is a very new, immediate past, and you will become ancient like me.
Other distinguished guests were also awarded at the event. Adebola Oshomuji, OGTV News.
The money laundering trial of the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, was stalled before a federal high court in Lagos as the trial court did not sit. The trial, which was fixed for continuation on Monday, could not proceed as the trial judge, Justice Chukwujeku Aneke, was said to be attending a conference. A new date will now be agreed on by the parties in due course. Fayose is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for 6.9 billion naira fraud and money laundering charges. He was first arraigned on the 22nd of October 2018 before Justice Mojisola Olatutegun, alongside his company, Spotless Investment Limited, on 11 counts bordering on fraud and money laundering offenses. He had pleaded not guilty to the charges and was granted bail on the 24th of October 2018 in the sum of 50 million naira with sureties in like sum. The General Authority for Civil Aviation, GACA, in Saudi Arabia has extended landing permits of Nigerian Hajj carriers from July 4 to July 6. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, Assistant Director, Public Affairs Division, Mrs. Fatima Usara, made this known in Abuja. She explained that the extension was necessitated by excessive flight cancellations and flight delays. She said from June 10 to June 13, 9 flights were cancelled. This, according to her, was due to reasons ranging from inability of some of the state's pilgrims boards to secure basic travel allowance (BTA) for pilgrims, insufficient funds for visas, and unavailability of the PCR test results. She revealed that a total of 13 flights were cancelled, with another 57 delayed takeoffs, 7 of which were in 2 digits, with the highest being 24 hours delay. NACO sought the extension to enable it to transport its remaining pilgrims into the kingdom for 2022 Hajj. Out of the 43,008 pilgrims expected to arrive Saudi Arabia from Nigeria, 27,359, inclusive of 527 staff, as well as committees and board members under the government quota, have been conveyed. Up next is business news. Do join us after the break.
Many thanks for joining us on the business segment of the news. Nigerian banks' total assets rose by 11.15 trillion naira in 1 year to 64.32 trillion naira. As of the end of April, figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria revealed that the assets of the lending institutions had hit 53.17 trillion naira in the corresponding periods of 2021 and 2022. Numbers showed a 21% increase over the period, according to a personal statement of a member of the Monetary Policy Committee, Kingsley Obiora, which was released by the CBN. The growth was driven by balance with CBN banks, OMO bills, and credit to the real sector of the economy. It said some sectors with the increased credit included manufacturing, consumers credits, general commerce, information and communication, and agriculture. The federal government has described the divestments by international oil companies from the Nigerian oil and gas sector as a threat to the industry. It, however, challenged indigenous oil producers to see the IOC's divestment as an opportunity for Nigerian firms operating in the space to take advantage of the development. The Chief Executive Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Benga Komolafe, disclosed this at the gala dinner of the Independent Petroleum Producers Group in Abuja, which had the theme IOC Divestment, Nigerians' Energy Security, and the role of IPPG in the New Dawn. The IPPG is made of 25 indigenous members, oil and gas companies with global reach and capacity in the sector. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, and the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has presented insurance service guidelines to stakeholders in the oil and gas industry. The guidelines were presented by Mr. Simbi Wabote, the Executive Secretary, NCDMB, and Commissioner for Insurance, NICOM, Mr. Sunday Thomas, at the 2022 Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference in Abuja. The guidelines will oblige the oil and gas industry to patronize the local insurance sector, thereby retain spend in the economy. It will also address loopholes that have been identified while implementing the provisions of Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act. The federal government is to establish a wood technology park for the training of wood technicians. It has also concluded plans to embark on mass plantation of timber across the country. It is to establish this through its Raw Materials Research and Development Council, as the move would help the provision of raw materials for the wood and wood products. Organizers of the Wood Expo Nigerian disclosed this in a communique put together from the WEN Edition 2 event in Abuja and made available to journalists at the press conference to announce 2022 edition of the Expo coming up in Lagos in November. Finally, prepaid meters given to electricity consumers from the Office of the Vice President Yemi Oshibajo under the National Mass Metering Program, which have now become dormant, will soon be retrieved. The NMMP scheme and intervention scheme introduced by the federal government in 2020 to bridge the metering gap is aimed at distributing 6 million free prepaid meters across the country. However, the program, which has so far seen the distribution of almost 1 million in its phase 0 and phase 1, may have been experiencing some challenges as some beneficiaries were said to be experiencing technical problems with the meters. And that's the end of the business segment of the news. We now go back to Wale Dosumo for the rest of the news.